Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel host, and today I have got my good friend Jeff with me.
Hello, mate.
Jeff, we're here to talk about the transfer window, of course, and also the fact that Everton announced the officially that Sean Dyche is the manager, the world's best kept secret. But Jeff, if you've been like me, you've been on Twitter all day, refresh, 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 refresh. I personally am going out my mind right now, and as I said on the group chat, I'm going to smack into a brick wall because I'm that frustrated and fed up and just wound up with this transfer fiasco, as it feels right now that nothing's happening and nothing will be happening anytime soon.
So this is my honest. This is because you know me. I'm always pretty much straightforward. Um, like I'm not even remotely surprised at all. Like I'm really, really not. Like because this isn't new. This is what Everton have been like for years, and like I'm literally not sitting here pressing refresh at all. I'm like,
Oh,
no, I'm really not because like I can't do anything about it. The club work at the pace they work, they've always done this. Um, like James Rodriguez, last day of the window, Allen, last day of the window. Like we've done it so many times. We always leave it to the last bloody minute, and even sometimes past the last minute. You know, the paperwork's in, but it hasn't actually been sorted, and it goes through at 3 in the morning, which was
yeah.
Figio from Belgium. What's his name? Fellaini.
Delaney.
You know that came in at 3 in the morning, and it's just like Everton are just they are what they are, and until the board and the people at the top change, I don't expect anything else other than disorganized rabble sort shit out on the last day at the last possible minute. And probably don't end up with what they want. Like I don't expect anything else.
Well, this is
My
what we do, isn't it? We
yeah,
wait till the last day and see what's
yeah,
available. There's no actual genuine plan. It's more of a hopeful situation. And you're right, Jeff. I think everyone knows this is trademark Everton. Leave it
yeah.
late, make a few phantom bids. The fans get excited, and ultimately our hopes are, you know, we get our hopes up for something that's a non-starter. Now, I
I
know
feel
the
sorry.
fact.
For Dan. I feel sorry for Dan because Dan is like an excited puppy at Christmas. He's just like he's constantly like he wakes up in the morning and checks Twitter and he's like, oh, if we do this and this and this, we'll probably finish mid-table and all this kind of stuff. And he's like he builds himself up and then his hopes get dashed and it's like bless him for having the optimism, but I've been an Everton fan for 50 years. I'm cynical and I've seen this shit before, and I'm not going to get excited like until something actually happens.
Hmm,
So yeah, it's
well,
it's
what
it's a sad state of affairs, but yeah, Everton's ruined me.
if
Yeah,
you're
it
just
has.
joining, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're over 1,720 subscribers, I think. We're approaching 2,000 subs, so let's get the subs up and make sure you like the video, regardless of how you feel about what's happening off and on the pitch. Hit the like for us. It just helps
Hello
with
to
where the
Nicky.
algorithm sits.
Nicky's just out on furlough from Twitter jail, so like
Oh,
she's
hi, Nikki.
she's she's,
Um,
she's running a burner account to let herself be on social media. So free
Brilliant.
at last, free at last.
Well, it's a very chilled show today. We want comments. We want to just have a chat with you. We're hoping to do a deadline day show tomorrow. But this is just, I mean, I was sat at home. I am at my wits' end with all of this transfer malarkey. We'll talk you through what's happened today. So we'll start with this morning. Kilimano Suleimani. I mean, that's definitely not how he's pronounced. Jeff, have you got the correct pronunciation for the Ghanaian winger at Rennes? At Rennes. Or do you want to make another? Can we
First,
go with that one?
I would have to first correct the way that you just said pronunciation, because it's not that. It's pronunciation.
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 Give
And
me the
it's
correct way of saying that guy's name.
Soleimani.
Soleimani. Okay, so we've got the 20-year-old Ghanaian winger, Soleimani. He plays for Rennes. I think that's how you pronounce it, or whatever. Well, I'm gonna have to grammar police and the spelling police here in a minute. We all know what we're talking about. A 20-year-old winger, plays for Ghana. He's got 20 caps for the Ghanaian national team. No goals. He scored once this season in 12 appearances, but he's had some injury problems. And he's a big prospect. I watched a highlights video of him against PSG from a couple of years ago. He's very raw. He gives the ball away 4 times for every right pass he does. But then he goes and gets an assist with a great cross and dribbles past 3 people. So he's one of those.
Basically, an improvement on Gordon then.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon could dribble past people for fun, but then would do nothing with it. And I do worry about this guy, but at this stage, I am just happy for anyone to come in because the squad is so thin. Soleimani, they want
Robbie.
They want 30.
You're with me down the bitter cynical road. Nice one, Rob. Cheers, mate.
They want 30 million for him. 30 million euros.
No, 14. Right, okay. I'll stop you immediately there. Right? Do they?
They're asking for that.
No,
that's how negotiation works.
Are they really asking for that, or have some person in the press said that's what they're asking for? Because literally 3 days ago, the price was 25 million. Then the price was, the price was 20 million. Then it was 22 million. Then it's 25 million. Now suddenly it's 30 million. This is just transfer window bullshit, right? That, how much was Iwobi? How much did Iwobi cost?
28 million.
Right. How much did they keep telling us that we paid
34
for him?
34 million.
40. Right? They keep saying it's 40 million. It was never 40 million. It was 27 million. Right? And then potential add-ons, which could rise to a maximum of 40 million if we got in the Champions League and won trophies and he scored a shitload of goals.
He's never getting that.
No, exactly. And the thing is that, if it's a Liverpool transfer, they'll always put the lowest possible figure. Like that guy from the guy that we were going to get, was it Diaz?
Nunes, Diaz.
It's 100 million the transfer fee, but they always said it's 50 something. But it's but with all the add-ons, it can rise up to 100. So they literally just use whatever numbers they think about. And the idea that we would pay £30 million for a 20-year-old kid.
No, they're asking for 30 million euros. But in negotiation, Jeff, I can say I'll give you 10 quid for it. If you want 30 quid, okay, well, they negotiate. You know, you can. It's called negotiation. They can ask for it. It doesn't mean we're going to pay it.
Yeah, but it also doesn't mean that they're asking for it. It just means somebody in the press has reported that that's what they're asking for.
Okay, so we've been linked with this guy. The bottom line is we've been linked with him. The media are saying that it's 30 million euros. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's important. I know it sounds petty, but this is the thing is that a lot of our fans were so invested in like you said, you've been scrolling on Twitter all day and people have been like, there's been a space already today and everyone's dead excited. Oh, we're going to pay 40 million for Gallagher. No, we never.
We'll come to that, Jeff.
Yeah, but it's nonsense. Even if there was an interest, which there's no confirmation that there is, other than somebody in the press said it, we would never pay that because we're Everton Football Club. We don't pay £40 million for a 22-year-old kid who hasn't really been able to get into the Chelsea team. It's just, and we've just got in £40 million. We're just going to blow that on somebody else straight away. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense.
So can we come to that? Because I just want to give some structure to the video. And I'm also wary that a lot of people coming on here won't have been scrolling through Twitter, won't have been keeping up to date. So it's our job to inform them of that. Just while we're talking about Soleimani, Jeff rightly corrected that it was the media reporting 30 million euros for this fella. Everton apparently offered 14 million euros. So what does that say about the way the market's going to work? But it's all getting very desperate. And that was this morning. Robbie's saying, Soleimani's not coming. We ain't got no money. So, I mean, I think Evertonians at the moment.
Because his first name, I think his first name is Noah Soleimani.
Oh, very good. But we're clutching onto every straw. So Jeff, after Soleimani was linked, Southampton, it was revealed, had agreed a fee with Lyon for Moussa Dembele, 3 million euros. I was getting quite wound up about that because I was thinking we should be all over that. He's proven he could score goals in Scotland and at Lyon, and he's well worth the punt at that kind of money. He's better than Neil Maupay. And then the big news came that Everton apparently had made a 40 plus £5 million offer for Conor Gallagher. Obviously, he's a player we've had a long-standing interest in, but Fabrizio Romano is about as reliable as a split toenail. You know, he chats shit, and time again, he's got no source regarding Everton. I think his source is the bobble. He doesn't actually have any genuine connections to the club. He's reporting stuff that he reads elsewhere, and it was quelled very quickly, Jeff, that the links to Conor Gallagher were a load of nonsense. Can you give us your thoughts and take on this?
So I'm gonna double barrel this, right? So we've been linked with the guy who's going to Southampton. What did you say his name was? The
striker,
Moussa Dembele, right? Now we've been linked with him for ages, and what was the price?
A lot more than that originally.
It was 20 million, right? Everton are linked with him for 20 million. He's going to go for 20 million. 20 million, 20 million, 20 million. And Southampton are buying him for 3 million. 3. And that's confirmed. So it just goes to show what nonsense the press talk. So when you, like I said...
But that was years ago. He's only got 6 months left on his contract now.
It was literally at the start of the window we were linked with him for... It was between 15 and 20 million. That was the price because he's in the last 6 months of his contract.
That's a lot of money.
What I will say is if he's that good, why is he going for 3 million quid? Why is he going to Southampton and why is no one else looking at him? So I wouldn't necessarily be that excited about him because he's had a half decent season in France, and then he's been rubbish this year. He's done nothing. So we don't know the story about that. As for the Gallagher thing, like it comes through and it's like, oh, Everton have bid 40 million and it's all over Sky, and then within minutes, there's stories. Oh, he's not interested in a move to Everton. Then within minutes of that, it's like, oh, he wants to stay in London. Like he's a London boy and he doesn't want to leave. Then it's suddenly he's linked with going to Newcastle. It just smacks to me of agents. They're literally they want moves for their players. They want money. They want bids. They want media attention. But in the meantime, in the background, that real business of transfers is going on. The actual real business of transfers.
So you don't believe that there was any interest in Conor Gallagher? Or
no,
that was interesting.
I think we're so often used as a stalking horse. It's like we'll throw in a story that like Everton are linked with them and Everton are chasing them, because really what we actually want is for someone else to come in with an actual bid who's shown an interest. So Newcastle, they're making some moves. Got money
and a plan.
Like if you link Everton with the story and say, oh, there's a confirmed bid and all of that, that maybe gives the hurry up to the people who are actually chasing him to come up with a proper financial deal. So, like I said, it's one of those, like, our fans jump at the bait so often, that, like, we need to take a step back from these ITKs and these in-the-know people who don't actually know all the time. And they don't. They're selling newspapers, selling clicks, and this is the time of year they make money. The agents are also in the same boat. They've got players who aren't getting games, who want moves. They've got players who are on crap wages, who want a better deal elsewhere. And it's the job of our director of football to just go about his business quietly in the background, and it's frustrating and it's annoying.
Do you believe something's happening?
Yes, of course I do. Yeah.
Well, can we talk a little bit? Let's touch on the market conditions at the moment. So it's the last day of the window tomorrow. Teams that are willing to sell players, the players are either out of favour at the clubs they're at, they want a step up to a bigger club, or to earn more money. Clubs that are selling players who are good generally won't sell anyone this late in the window because they can't get replacement. And they know we're desperate, so the fees are going up. So there's 4 things there that are difficult. Now, if we're looking at anyone outside of Europe, or we've got an issue with work permits. So the fact that this has been allowed to come down to this late in the window is downright negligent. I'm Jeff. I have to be honest, and I really wish I could be more enthusiastic and positive. I know you're saying things happen in the background, but I'd be very surprised now if we actually bring in what we need, or even half of what we need.
Okay.
We needed 2. We needed a winger, a striker, and now we need a replacement for Gordon. And then everyone else, I think a lot of people would say we need.
The need runs both ways. So, like I said, from the point of view of an Evertonian, right? We're desperate for news. We're desperate for a story. We're desperate for signings, and so we
feed us a fucking signing.
And that's the whole point: is we feed the narrative. Our desperation feeds the story. It feeds the narrative, and we've done it. We've done it so many times. It's like, where's the signings? Where's the money? Where's this? Where's this? Where's this? Where's this? And then suddenly, like, something happens, and it's like, bang! There you go. It's done. And we didn't pay anywhere near the price that people said that we were going to pay. And we've done it on a stage deal, like the Onana thing. It's like, oh, he was going to cost this, this, and this. We ended up paying £5 million up front. So whilst I do have problems with the board in some respects, in other respects, like, we got 40 million cash up front for Gordon.
So Jeff, why is that not allowing us to bring in 3 or 4 players where we only have to put 10 million down?
The thing is, when we say that there's a desperation, we're only looking at it from the point of view of Everton, because we're Evertonians and we want something. We know that the team needs stuff, and we want the moves to happen because, like, we just want to be better and win football matches and whatever. And it's like, well, they're trying to push the prices up because the window's getting closer and blah, 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 blah. But no, not really. Like, if you actually think about it, those players want the moves and the clubs don't want them. So the price doesn't go up. It goes down because they know that if they don't get the deal done by midnight tomorrow night or 11 o'clock tomorrow night, whatever it is, they're stuck with the player for another 5 months who isn't getting a game or who's on too much wages. Or
that's not the type of player we want.
No, but like I said, it's big picture. You look at the Gyökeres deal, right? Now, when we first got interested in him, it was like 12, 15 million. And then lately, it's like the story is like, oh, it's 25 million now, the price.
Yeah.
But then look deeper into the story, do a little bit of research, and what you find is, oh yeah, Coventry have got financial issues. They need money.
Yeah,
they
can't afford to turn it down, apparently. And as Gavin says here, he's not worth the 25 million. They must spell out desperation.
And so our desperation might have forced us to pay over the odds, but we're just saying no. We know he has to go. He wants to come here. You're trying to squeeze some extra cash out of us. We're not having it. So it's a kind of game of brinksmanship. And
This
it's
guy's
one
on
of
a
those-
wind up.
Yeah, you're just winding me up. There's no here we go on that at all. It's nonsense.
You chat shit anyway.
Yeah. So basically, what we've got a situation is they want more money than we want to pay, but we want the player. The player wants to come, and they need money. So, and they've already bought in a replacement, by the way. So there's not a kind of, or they can't
When did
sell
they
it.
sign that?
I can't remember the guy's name, but they've already signed another striker.
Scott wants to speak to Elton Wellesby. Should bring him in.
Yeah, if you want, mate. I'll just. Coventry City signed former West Brom striker. Oh no, that's an old story. But yeah. Oh, you've gone. Oh no. Oh, sorry. We're going to get some Elton. I do apologise, everybody.
Hello, it's Elton Wellesby here. Yes. I had a call this morning at 3 a.m. from an old colleague of mine, well respected. We're going to be bringing in Robbie Brady. Yes. Great player, and I just think he's the one for us. He's the one that's going to make the difference in this battle for League One in 2 seasons' time.
Yes, Scott. After that fake take. Are you there, Elton? What's going on, son?
Yeah, I think he just had to leave. So just a bit of fun here. We've got a lot of respect for him. He's a great guy. But we're just looking for something fun to talk about.
Well, yeah. So it's one of those where, like I said, we're all on the hook as Everton fans. That our desperation for something to happen makes us jump at every little thing. I've got caught with a few myself, stories that have come out and people pretending to be other people and stuff like that. And it's
Charles.
Oh yeah, there was a fake Charles running, he's got the Charles photo and stuff. And,
how can you have a fake Charles? It's a guy who's not even being himself to protect someone.
But it's one of those where there's so many stories coming through. You don't check the full profile of every single tweet that you answer, if you know what I mean. And people are like, "How can you fall for that?" And it's because I don't check the bloody idea of every single tweet that I read. It's if I had to check every single person.
You're the type of guy that gets done on the fake Paul Joyce.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've done that before now. Yeah, but it's one of those where someone will pull me on it, and I'll just go, "All right, okay, sound good, I'll knock it off." But I'm not losing sleep over it because it's just part of the thing, isn't it? It's this is all just nonsense. And like I said, it's just like the Muppet Show. But in reality, the stuff that we're all panicking and flapping about is right. Okay, in the last few weeks, we've had the stadium's not being built, the workers haven't been paid, and they've all left. But there's video that the stadium is still being built and all the workers are on site and there's no issue. We've had that Sean Dyche isn't signing. There's been a problem. I've even seen Elton tweeting that. Oh, it's suspicious. Oh, it's suspicious that we haven't. This deal has what's going on, and it's maybe they're busy because there's 2 days to the transfer window. Get some getting some photos of a ginger northerner, like chatting some wham about like how he's going to do a great job and bring sort of this, that, and the other. Like, I literally cut and paste the interview, and I could have written it myself.
Yeah.
He's going to come in, we're going to work hard, and I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And it's
Wow.
like,
we got to fight for the badge. Fight for the club. It's the same
really
shit. Every manager does the same shit.
Yeah, but everyone's losing their mind for 2 days. Where's the announcement? Where's the announcement? I don't care. I do not care about the announcement. We've got other important shit to do. So what happened is he did loads of stuff over the weekend. He come in this morning, as I fucking knew he would, did training, as I expected, and then did some public interviews afterwards, and the announcement was not. Literally, like, no surprises whatsoever. But everyone's been flapping about it all weekend, like, oh my God, where's the announcement? Why hasn't he been announced? Why hasn't he got a stupid bloody video on YouTube of him chatting nonsense? Like, it doesn't.
No one gives a hoot. Can I just ask Mark very quickly? He just shared a link in the comments. We can't click on them now. Just about a transfer we've been linked. Excuse me. With can you elaborate, please? But yeah, Jeff, no one really cares. We all knew he was the manager. I think the more pressing need is definitely the transfers. John Riley saying Gallagher would rather sit on his arse than on the Chelsea bench. He'd rather sit on his arse on the Chelsea bench. Thanks for that, John. Bearing in mind, while we're talking about Gallagher, Chelsea are breaking the British transfer record with £120 million bid for, is it Enzo Fernandez? An Argentinian midfielder. So, I mean, this financial fair play is dead. They've spent 700 million, Chelsea, in like a year now, if they get him over the line. So it's unbelievable, really. But it means that Gallagher will be available. You can't see him really keeping his place there as they go very continental. And really, in the Sean Dyche system of the 4-4-2, I think he works as one of the two in midfield because I think he's got enough defensive quality about him. And or he could play possibly behind Calvert-Lewin. We've got more chance of signing Frank Gallagher. Who was Ivo Goody? Did you just have to block someone?
Gallagher. Nice one.
We actually do want a comment moderator, by the way. I think we need a comment moderator for when we do the post-match reactions. Someone who's just like, some of these post-match reactions are getting far too many people on, which is great, obviously, but we can't keep on top of it. We need someone who can help with that, with the comments, making sure it's policed properly. We get a lot of reds and trolls.
This is really the news of the day. If you want to make something the most important thing of the day, he's working with the same players. Will Dyche really make much difference? Right. That's a very valid question, and the answer is yeah, he will, because he's a better, more experienced coach than Lampard, who just didn't have a clue what he was doing. Like, whether you like, he was a nice guy and everyone liked him, but he was bloody awful at coaching. Like, none of the players improved.
I was thinking about that Watford away game where we drew 0-0 last season and thinking, how did we?
Everyone
how could you be that bad?
The players looked confused. Like Mikalenko, I know he gets so much abuse, but he played really well. He played really well in the derby. Like, he played really well towards the end of last season once he'd settled in. Right? Now, no, he's not Leighton Baines. I'm not going to try and pretend he is Leighton Baines. But he's also not as bad as he's looked the last few weeks. And that's what happens is when you've got a coach who's out of ideas, can't decide what system he's playing, what style of play he's going to employ, doesn't really know who he can rely on or anything like that, what you get is muddled thinking and confusion. Players who are solid, steady players start making mistakes because they don't know what they're doing.
It becomes too complicated for them. And then also not having the top level strikers or the forward players, confidence just drops throughout the team because they know they're never going to score. They're not going to win games. They don't have enough about them. You know, I'm not surprised that players are making mistakes and the confidence is low. There's some great comments. I just want to give a shout out to Kevin, Mark, Mike, Jay, Martin, Nikki, Eugene, Bob. Thank you so much. Jeannie, Stu, Scott, Robbie, Kevin, John, Paul. So many great people in the comments here tonight. Robbie, if I've not mentioned you, then I do apologise. You're very much appreciated on here. Hit the like button for us. Keep the comments coming in. The link with the striker, Mark saying, is Artem Dovbrick. He plays for Dnipro, scored 16 in 22 games. A bit of a lump, 6'2" striker. 10 million quid.
Yeah. So this is again, and this goes back to what I'm sort of. Sometimes people get annoyed by me, and I understand because I'm a smart ass know-it-all sometimes, and I do tend to get a pontificate a little bit sometimes, and that's fine. It rubs people on the wrong way sometimes. Some people like it, some people don't. That's fine. But some of the shouts that you hear, it's like, what's Kevin Thelwell doing? Like, where's our scouting network? Where's this? Where's that? Where's the other? Right? Well, clearly he does know, like, whether you like his purchases or not. The idea that he's just sitting in an office staring at a screen playing FIFA on his computer, it's nonsense. He's clearly got people who work under him. He's got contacts all over the place. He's been part of the Red Bull franchise. He was Watford. He was Wolverhampton manager. He was in the Wolverhampton setup for 6-7 years. He was part of the Wales coaching setup. He actually helped set up the Welsh manager coaching system. So he clearly has a little bit of knowledge about what he's doing, and so he will be working in the background and he will be doing stuff. Now, the pace at which it's happening is frustrating and it's too slow. And yeah, I agree with all of that. But then the counter argument to that is, how do you sign a player if you don't know who the manager's going to be?
So are you relaxed about this?
Yeah, because if you're going to sign Bielsa, the players that you're going to bring in are going to be completely different to the type of players you're going to bring in if you're going to employ Sean Dyche. They play different football. They're looking for totally different things from the style of play and whatever, personalities, all that kind of stuff. So we couldn't really make any kind of full-on decisions until this situation with the manager was resolved. And the delay in that isn't down to Thelwell. It's down to our idiot owner.
I disagree to some extent there, Jeff, because I think that Thelwell does have an input in the manager sacking and whether he's doing his job right or not.
No, what I mean is in the actual decision being made, like the final decision of who we actually...
to appoint the manager. Sorry,
Mashiri wanted...
Him and Bill Kenwright did the interviews.
Yeah, but he wanted Bielsa. And until it was over with Bielsa, we couldn't actually go forward properly with Dyche because Bielsa would have wanted totally different people. And so until that decision was sorted, it's really difficult to kind of approach who you want and all that kind of stuff because the manager and the director of football have got to work together and agree on who they're going to bring in. And so it's delayed, and it was exactly the same last year. We fired a manager much too late, and then we ended up bringing a guy in on the last day, and we got a couple of loans in. It's muddled, and the owner takes full responsibility for that, in my opinion, because despite the fact that he says he has nothing to do with decisions, he clearly interferes, and that interference has caused delays because we didn't know who the actual manager was or what direction the club was going to go in until this situation was resolved. And that's only been resolved over the weekend. And so now we're left with 2 days to sort the situation out. And yeah, I blame the owner for that. I fully blame the owner for that.
Very good point, Jeff. I'm going to come to some comments now, Jeff, if that's okay.
Yeah,
and then we're going to talk about Thorgan Hazard, which is the latest link that fell flat on its arse. Dave Walker saying, I cared a lot about Oh, okay.
Sorry. That was.
How far is that? Is that quite far up? Or is that a
Yeah,
newish comment?
no, I apologise. Go on, what was the comment?
John just mentioning about Branthwaite going to be a good centre half. Hopefully he comes good for us next season if we keep him. Loads of comments. Dave Walker saying, I cared a lot about waiting 4 days to know who our manager was. I needed some sense of direction.
Yeah.
I understand that, Dave. Everton Rose, our friend, she's great. She's got another YouTube channel worth checking out. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe there as well. Saying, I don't see us getting anyone. She's... Why does that not surprise me? She's just as fed up as us. Bless her. Jay says we need 2 minimum. BT's asking, can Dyche get a tune out of Dele Alli? Well, I think he probably could get something out of him, but he's not going to come back to Everton. He's on massive wages, and we can't play him because if we play him, we have to pay Tottenham Hotspur £10 million. So that was the risk. But you know what? We shouldn't have wasted the first 20 appearances of Dele Alli playing him as a deep lying centre mid. We should have had him right up top playing off Calvert-Lewin and actually trying to play to his strengths. Some of these comments are saying Kevin's announcing that he's having a fried egg and a portion of McDonald's chips. Thanks for that. Mark saying he wants Keane back as our new striker. Do you mean Keane, our Keane, or
Michael? He means
Juventus
Michael.
Keane.
Which is funny.
Martin's go on. Yeah, Fukin no one. The Japanese striker. We left it way too long. Sacking Frank, getting a new one in. Our club can only drag things out.
Yes, and this is exactly what I'm saying. Is yeah, I would have liked the announcement of Dyche to have been done like straight away, like days and days and days ago. But unfortunately, our dopey manager was just insistent on getting a guy who didn't even want to come in this transfer window because he knew the problems, and he was so unsuitable for the gig. But he courted him and he courted him and courted him, and it just went on far too long. And so by the time the owner finally gave up hope of getting him and accepted the fact that we were going to have to bring in Dyche, then we have to like sit there and do all of the bits and bobs and whatever. And it was the weekend, so it's annoying, but like until the owner leaves and sells the club and brings competent leadership involved, we can't do anything about that. So it is what it is, unfortunately. But, you know, I still expect us to do some business. I still do. So I'm negative, but I still have some optimism deep down in this.
He's got some hope that I don't share, I don't think. And the comments are quite conflicted tonight, Jeff. You've got people talking about Bielsa for some reason, saying Bielsa's a visionary, but we don't have the time for him. Jay saying Bielsa's a fraud. We've got people talking about a coach driver. Chris is saying, do we need a championship coach driver? Well, you're offering the job, Chris, because I'm sure that'll be available next season for you. Thorium is saying, took too long to get Dyche in. Well, to be fair, mate, he's been here 3 days. Shows how competent and poorly prepared the board was. Well, they knew that Dyche was available for weeks and weeks.
Did we take 3 days to get him in? Or did we just take 3 days to put a media thing out?
Yeah, no, that's what I said. He's been here for at least 3 days.
So that means that because he was here on Saturday and he was here on Sunday and he was here today. So he will have been doing stuff. He will have been working. So like we didn't get the announcement until this afternoon, but that doesn't mean to say that he hasn't been chatting to Thelwall for the last 3 days and going through all kinds of other things, you know, bringing his coaches in, organising setups and all that kind of stuff so that when training started Monday morning, like everyone's there ready to go. Like it was an organised training session this morning, so the staff must have all been there ready and what. So, you know, it's not like
he was there to meet the players on Saturday.
Exactly. So that's the whole point. Is it's like it was sorted. It was sorted days ago. Just the media stuff wasn't done because other stuff was prioritised.
Yeah.
You know,
the players We'll talk about Dyche in a moment then, actually. But just finally on the transfers today that we'd seen, Thorgan Hazard rejected a move to Everton on loan from Dortmund. Apparently,
he's going to Paris Saint-Germain.
PSV.
Oh, sorry, PSV, not PSG. Yeah, sorry, he's going to PSV. So,
yeah, rejected a move to us. Doesn't want to uproot his family. Blah 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 blah. So that ship sailed as well.
It's nonsense because he's living in Germany and he's going to move. He's going to move to Holland. So that's
a difference.
No, but it's still like uprooting your family and moving them 200 miles, isn't it? So like that's nonsense. Like what's the difference between getting on a plane to here or getting on a plane to there? You're still getting on a plane.
Just wants an easy life.
Oh. So yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, that's all right. I'll just do these comments quickly. Then we'll talk about Dyche.
Yeah.
How many do you think we'll get in from Martin? Jeff, I think 2 or 3, and I don't think we'll get anyone. Because it was 3 or 4, then it was 2 or 3, then it was 1 or 2. Now it's 0 for me. It takes a day to do a loan deal.
But that's the assumption is that like we're going to do it all in one day rather than the fact that we've been working on it for 3 or 4 days and it's just completed on the last day. Like I said, there's a lot of assumptions about stuff that we make that like nothing's going on, but that doesn't mean that nothing's going on. It just means that we're frustrated that it doesn't appear to us like something's going on. Yeah. So, like I said, I still think the Gyökeres deal will get done. I still think the Soleimani deal is unlikely because
let's get these hopes up so they all come on our deadline day stream tomorrow.
Yeah. So,
guys, I just want to let you know, I've changed my mind. We're going to get 3 or 4 players, and we're going to reveal them exclusively first here tomorrow between 7 and midnight. In fact, Jeff, with his contacts book, direct to Ken Wright, the Bobble, Charles Stevenson, and everyone else. He'll be revealing first here from his kitchen. He's got 6 phones in his living room, all with hotlines to Babe Station. Right, let's. Jeff's been on the positivity drug. Where's Dan? Because you've had to replace Dan on the stream, and I'm replacing you. People are saying, 1 or 2 signings if they're lucky. What do you think, guys? How many do you think we're getting in? Who do you think we're going to get in? There's a lot of comments tonight. Jeff, talk us through what happened with Dyche then. He took training today. The players look zonked, sorry.
Well, he met all the players on Saturday. And then obviously he's spent the weekend dotting the I's and crossing the T's on some stuff, but then he's been kidnapped by Elton. But then he's also obviously clearly been in close contact with the director of football, because why wouldn't he be? Like, it's so obvious that that's what he will have been doing. But also he's also been speaking to his, he's sorted his coaching team out and all the rest of it. But then he took training today. So, like I said, the media was the last thing that was necessary, and that's the thing is, do the things that matter first, like that important stuff. And you might say, but the fans need to hear and the fans need to know and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, no, that's not true. The fans want to know. It doesn't mean they need to know. What they need is business to be sorted and done, and then be told about it. That's really ideally how a proper club would work. Is the business is sorted and then they announce it. So, like I said, there's a frustration from the fans because we live in the internet age, the Twitterverse, that we're constantly getting stuff like stories and stuff thrown at us all the time. And most of it's bollocks. Most of it's absolute nonsense. And really, if you just take a step back and sit there and think, like, a lot of the stories that have come out even during this era of dysfunction, like the deals do get done. They do get done. Like, it's just not to our satisfaction that it's like not as quick as we'd like and whatever. But we do sign players, and sometimes the players aren't the ones that we would want. Again, that doesn't mean we haven't done stuff. It just means that we didn't like the people that we picked, and that's just whatever. That's a whole different sort of subject. But like the idea that we're just not doing anything, like they're all sat in, they're all sat in not in Belfield, they're all sat in Finch Farm playing Tetris.
Might as well be in Belfield this season.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think that stuff's going on in the background, and like when it's all done, we'll find out about it.
Well, we've got Jay in the comments. He's saying his mate from Berlin tells me that Boris Becker is rapid and fast as fuck.
Yeah, but he's still got his ankle tag on, so he's not allowed to leave.
Michael Winstanley saying he doesn't expect us to sign anyone. Bashiri said he's not putting his hand in his pocket. And Rose is saying we'll just get the one player. Gorka Rouse from Coventry. Martin Allchurch, thank you so much for your comment. Someone asked them to earn the wage they are not used to. They look so knackered. They did look like they were blowing, steam out their arse, as the Scouse saying goes. Onana, Cody, Pictured, Coleman. They have to do that, Jeff, because let's be honest, if we don't have the technical advantage over other teams, then at least we can have the physical and tactical advantage over other teams. They're the two things that we can work on now. The manager's responsible for the tactical advantage and the physical output of the players. If we can get these players running more, doing more, they'll be a better team, because they look unfit under Lampard. Lampard was more like their dad, who they looked up to because he had a great glittering playing career, and not a manager with a lot of quality, a lot of experience. And I am confident about Dyche with this group, Jeff. I just want a little bit of quality sprinkled at the top end, just to allow us to...
Absolutely. To do that. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to disagree on that. We definitely need the striker in, and we need a winger, because obviously we've lost Gordon, so we have to replace him, although I know Dingo's back from his injury. Townsend.
Like a new signing.
Yeah. And Garner's back as well, so that's kind of almost like a new signing. I think what's her name as well for this fullback, Scottish.
Patterson, but these players aren't that great, Jeff.
Sorry, no, but again, are they not that great, or have they just been really badly coached and demotivated? I'm not saying that they're going to turn into world beaters, but they don't need to be world beaters. They just need to be better than they've been.
I like that, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's very positive and optimistic. In fairness, we haven't seen much of James Garner. Patterson, I think, defensively isn't great. And I haven't seen a lot of him going forward, but he's a young lad. Hopefully he'll develop. He looks a bit immature at the moment in his overall play. And you've got Andros Townsend, but he was never really that level of play. He's a bottom six Premier League player. No. He's a bench player. But, we're going to be relying on him now.
Yeah, but the reality is we're not going to be competing with even Newcastle. We're
competing for 17th.
Yeah, we're literally battling for 17th, 16th, something like that. Or we're basically
18th, Jeff.
Yeah, we're battling to get across
take
the
18th?
line. No, I could do. Jesus Christ!
Some people would fall for that.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I take 17th, but it's one of those where
I offered you that months ago, and you said no.
I'm not expecting amazing football. I'm not expecting. Well, yeah, but I mean, there's water passed under the bridge since then, and hindsight is, 2020. I never expected an amazing sort of turnaround in play, especially not when we didn't sign a striker. But I expected better than we've done this season. And I was right to do that because these players are not as bad as
You
they'd
said they
look.
were shite on the last stream. You went,
Right.
they're a bad group of players.
Oh, shite.
Changing with the wind at the moment.
No, right, listen.
Guys,
Good.
record this and play it back. I mean, it has been recorded, but
Listen, right? There's a difference between sort of like reality and optimism. So we're not going to be competing for Europe anytime soon. A lot of these players, they're not good enough. But my God, they're better than bloody Bournemouth and Southampton and Wolverhampton, surely. Like, we've lost games against teams that haven't won another game apart from when they beat us, right? So Watford, not Watford, Wolverhampton, I think they had 2 wins in 10 games, and one of them was us. Bournemouth, 1 win in 10 games, and it was against us. Southampton hadn't won in 10 games, and then they played us. They obviously won the Man City game, but in the league, like we were a soft touch, right? And even if we weren't playing well, we should be functional enough to be really difficult to beat. And so even if we didn't win those games, we shouldn't have lost them. We lost them because we were tactically inept. We made mistakes. We were
bad on the transfer.
We were poorly coached. So the Southampton game at home, right? We could have had a draw. A smart coach would have just shut the door. When they equalised, it would have shut the door and said, "You're not scoring another goal." Like, if we don't win the game, we're not losing the game. And that's a point to us on our tally, but it's 2 points off their tally. And that's important. So again, like
I would have taken a draw in every match this season.
Right. And if we'd have
got 38 points,
we'd be sort of 14, 15, 13, something like that. There's not a huge gap, and none of these teams are great. Like, we're poor, but they're not all great either. That Jesse March is a lunatic who doesn't know how to coach.
Do you think Leeds and Bournemouth could get sucked in?
The guy who they brought in at Southampton, it's like, who the hell is he? Like, I don't even know who he is. The Southampton
This is why I was surprised. I mean, these managers, I've never heard of half of them. And, Southampton, Bournemouth and Leeds, you're hoping will get sucked in. You're right. I mean, you have said in the past these players are just not good. Now you're saying these players are better than what they are. I mean, you could say the same thing can apply to both, really. You could use both. You could say that they're not that good, but they should be doing better. I think that's a fair.
Doing better than what they were. Yeah, that's
I'm just coming back to the comments now. Rose is saying she thinks we'll get Gorka. She's saying he's got good hold-up play and good with his feet, knows where the goal is.
And he's got a bit of pace as well.
Ian's saying, good evening. He's your favourite Darlington FC fan. Welcome back, Ian. Philip saying, Everton fans don't deserve a football club. We're so depressing.
Is it the railways or something like that? I don't know. Go on, what was that? Sorry.
Better to do, Philip. He says we don't deserve a football club. We sat through it. I'm nearly 30 years of age. I've seen us win nothing. I think I've done okay to survive this. And yes, I've got a right to be depressed. Haven't I?
Yes. The idea that we don't deserve a football club. Literally, we've watched a team be vanilla for 30 years, and our very best day is nearly qualifying for the Champions League once, but getting ad off by a baldy Italian referee. Like, that's the highlight of our last 30 years. So, yeah.
Townsend's our best winger, apparently. I mean, he can cross the ball, but he's got no pace. I don't know how he's going to come back into this now and try and reach the levels what he was before.
He improves the bench, it's one of those, like I said, we're not going to be pulling up trees. But, like, if you've got a player like Townsend on the bench and it's a tight game, he might be able to nick something on a game. He scored the goal at United. he has got an ability. He's got a good left foot. He can take a free kick. He could be the difference between like picking up a draw in a game we're losing or turning a point into 3, and they all count. It's cumulative,
We're going to be playing for a lot of 1-0s and a lot of set pieces. John saying Dyche averages 1.1 points a game. I think we're going to be really strong at set pieces, really, really nasty to play against in midfield and horrible from set pieces and winning second balls and getting the ball into channels and getting the ball forward early, into the box. And that's how I think Everton will play. And I think that'll suit the group we've got now because it's quite a simple way of playing. I think it'll get the best out of some players. I just think we need to sprinkle that second striker, that second number 9 and another winger, just so we've got that real top end quality to get us where we need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's fair, Matt. I just think he was out of his depth and he didn't know what he was doing. And I think he wanted a philosophy of how to play. He wanted a style of, he wanted to play through the lines and he wanted to do this and he wanted to do that. And it's like, Sean Dyche is, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's him as a manager. He's a pragmatic, work hard, do your job, don't F about,
We have transfer news, breaking transfer news. I've got Jim White here from Talk Sport. Let's go over to Jim White.
Have you really, though?
Right. Jim White here on Talk Sport. Everton are interested in signing Union Berlin striker Sherado Becker.
When did Jim White move to Ireland?
Scotland, sorry. Jim White.
You mean Jim White? Yeah.
Can you still hear me, Jeff?
I can. And that's a better Scottish accent than you'll ever do, sir.
No, I don't want that type of Scottish accent, son. I want Jim White from Talksport. He's a little bit more like that. Ghana winger Kamaldeen Sulemana is having a medical at Everton, according to Football Ghana, which has got 20,000 followers on Twitter. So that's what they're saying. Football Ghana, Black Stars winger, is in England having his medical. He will soon become an official player of Everton. We've struggled to compete this season. Before travelling to England today, it now appears he'll join Everton from Stade Rennais from French League One. He'd been a target of Southampton and PSV.
Really? I thought you said we weren't signing any players.
Right, so let's have a little bit more information on this player. 1 goal this season, 20 caps for Ghana and no goals for them. And he's 20 years of age, turning 21. Fits the bill perfectly, Jeff.
Yeah.
Are you reading that?
I'm just checking up for the latest stuff. So I'm trying to find some sort of later report, but I'm not seeing it.
Southampton have agreed to pay 26.2 million for Braga striker Vitina. I mean, this is the thing. They are desperate to stay up, aren't they? They're willing to bring players in to get the deals over the line to stay up.
Yeah, and this is the thing is like, has anyone ever heard of these people? Half these people no one's ever heard of. And so people will sit there and go, oh, yeah, like I used him on FIFA. He was boss. And it's like, that's not a scouting report. Like, you've no idea. You've no idea. None of us have any idea realistically. Like Onana, let's be honest, 85-90% of the fan base will have never heard of him before we were linked with him. Then when we sign him, he's a £100 million player, and he's like gonna be like the next big thing for Real Madrid in a few years.
It doesn't take a lot though to become.
And then when he misplaces a couple of passes and has a couple of poor games because he's a 21-year-old kid and he's inconsistent, he's dog shit and a total waste of money. And it's like, oh, Jesus God, it tires me out. It really does tire me out. Like, we don't know.
Give us your thoughts on Gordon, Jeff.
Sorry, on who?
Gordon. He said today that he admired history of Newcastle's big history, and it was a big step for him.
Who? You want my thoughts on who?
Antonio Gordana.
Claire Balding?
Yeah.
Needs to get an haircut. Spends far too long in the mirror for someone with that bad a hairdo. Like, seriously, if you're going to spend that long looking in the mirror because you love yourself that much, surely you should be able to fix your barnet by now.
Is he the biggest rat? I mean, I met Anthony Gordon. He signed my shirt before the Brentford game, and he seemed all right.
It's not a case that he's a big rat. Like, he didn't want to be here. He thought he was better than he was. He's managed to engineer a move, and we've made a shit ton of money for somebody who has done nothing for us. And if he goes on to be a good player and he improves at whatever, I don't care. I really don't care. We got absolute top dollar for an academy player for the first
Only
time.
Good money if we spend it well, though, Jeff.
Yeah, but it's like one of those where, let's say Guy Carez, right? If Guy Carez comes in, or even this other guy, this Suleimani, right? This Suleimani could come in and get 3 or 4 assists and 2 goals in the next 5 months. And we've basically swapped someone who does nothing for some guy who's done that and made like 20, 25 million quid, which we've bought a striker in from Coventry who's like, oh, why are we signing players from the Championship? I don't know, because Tim Cahill came from the Championship and he was fucking amazing. Like, who cares where they come from? I just care what they do when they get the shirt on. And you do not know how successful someone is going to be until they get through the door and get on the pitch and do something. Like, we've spent shit tons of money on players who've been absolute failures, and we've brought people in for nothing, for like 50 grand from the Irish Gaelic Football League, who've turned out to be like our winger for a decade or more. You know, it's football is like, it's a lottery. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Well, we're all excited anyway that we're gonna have the Gordon money to spend. Jeff, you're right. It was a good deal for all parties at the stage. You know, we'd promised him a contract. We couldn't deliver on the money he wanted. He wanted to move on with his career, and probably it gives him a good chance of it. Why? You know who this is?
Who?
Have a guess who that is.
Is it really? Sorry, Chuck. Is it? Well, yeah. No. To be fair, that like, it is really hard because like I'm mostly bald now, and I'm just.
Do you actually know who that is?
No. Is that his actual girlfriend, or is that someone we actually know? I don't know. Yeah.
No. Who is it?
I don't know. Is it your missus taking the piss?
No, no. That's Jasmine. That's Dan.
Is it Dan? Is it?
On his burner account? It's his girlfriend's account, Chloe.
Nice one, Dan.
Dan, get on the stream, lad. Get on the stream, lad. He'll come on here and start talking, booming, start saying, you know, we're going to get 5 players and stay in the league. It seems to be quite serious about the Geraldo Becker. I mean, it's like they're making these names up when you make a player up.
Sorry, I'm just reading while you talk. Come on, carry on.
I've never heard of half of them. I'm not going to lie. He plays for Union Berlin.
Yeah.
Oh, no, here comes trouble.
Is that hairdo?
Yeah.
Hey up, Jazz.
Hi.
She's got better hair than Anthony Gordon. Yeah, exactly. Lampard looked a bit like what? Don't know what's going on in the background.
Oh, well, Jasmine.
I said I'm going out for a drink with the girls at 9.
Nice.
I'm literally coming home because I'm too old.
Okay, that's all right. Well, we're on a live stream with over 100 people watching, so we don't need to know about that on here. They come for Everton content.
I am Everton content.
No, I don't think we've had bad luck with managers. I think we've chosen really badly. We've picked really bad choices because our owner is an idiot who wants names of managers is more important to him than suitability and qualifications and all that kind of stuff. It's like, if your idea of hiring managers is to bring in an ex-Liverpool manager to be the Everton manager, you should have your internet access taken away from you, and you should have nothing to do with football ever again because you're a lunatic. If you didn't do research on Koeman at Southampton and do research on him other than his name, that he was Ronald Koeman and he scored a goal in a cup final once for Barcelona, he was an arsehole. And like any bit of research that you would do, if you looked into Ronald Koeman as a person, he was an arsehole, a self-absorbed, self-interested arse. Like he was so unsuitable to be the manager of this club. It just didn't make any sense. It just never made any sense. And like, there's so many of our decisions are made based on the name of the person or the personality or the fact that they once played good against us. Like, how many players have we signed because they basically
Nikola Vlasic,
because they beat us in a football match, and it's like, that's not a qualification.
That's our scouting network when we play other teams.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, oh yeah, he played really good against us once, we should sign him. Like, no.
Always someone who scored against us.
That's ridiculous. So yeah, like that's the reason why we're a basket case club, because we've recruited really badly and we appoint inappropriate managers, and we've got an idiot making decisions who owns the club, and we can't do nothing about that. But occasionally he makes the right decision for one reason or another. He accidentally looks into the right person and like makes the right decision. And like, we just got to be grateful that like Bielsa wasn't interested in other than being our under-23 coach, and we brought in Sean Dyche because, whether you like him or not, he's a really competent coach. And for a team that's 20 foot, I was going to say 21st in the league, but a team that's 19th in the league with a really bad structure and with a really poor attitude amongst a lot of the players, and we've lost our identity. It's like hiring David Moyes again, like when he first come in. And that might not be appealing because, you know, the Mashiri money made us all think that we were going to be this, this, and this. And that was great. But reality is today, now, where we are now. And where we are now is a disorganized rabble lacking strong leadership. And Sean Dyche will take no shit. He will work these lazy effers to within an inch of their life, and we will become a functioning football team again. We won't be pretty on the eye, but we'll be a functioning football team that's capable of getting results against teams, like, and picking up points and grounding out results, and like, we'll have a chance of getting over the line. We'll have a chance of getting over the line and surviving this year. And before he arrived, that really wasn't a certainty. I was pretty much of the mind that we were going down. And I think bringing Dyche in, we've looked into the right person for this club, because he's exactly the right manager for Everton Football Club. Our mentality, our work ethic, our demands on what we want to see from players, no nonsense. don't fuck about, do your job, work hard, come off the pitch tired and sweaty because you've put in a shift, not with your hair still like looking really good. So yeah, I feel a little bit positive for a change. So yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a rant then, wasn't it?
No, it's fine. I'm just I can't see past the transfer thing at the moment because I don't think the squad's good enough at the moment, even with Dyche.
Yeah, maybe. I think it is. I think it's good enough to stay in this league.
What? Calvert-Lewin, Townsend, Gray, McNeil, Mopay, and Sims. That's the front six options, and Iwobi.
I think with proper coaching, a bit of organisation. I'm not saying we're going to pull up trees, but we don't need to pull up trees. We're going
to burn trees.
We just need to survive in this league. That's it. And I still think we'll bring in a couple of players in the attacking areas that will help, and we'll do enough to survive. That's all we need to worry about. So yeah, I think we'll do all right. Yeah. You're not buying it, are you? This is as positive as I get, by the way. So just drink this in, people.
Where's Dan?
I don't know.
People are asking where he is. Look, someone's taking the piss out of him here. Willis, Brian, what do you think? Because you can't say the, can he? He goes, I think it'll be good.
But he's from Birmingham, right? Well, he's not really, but
I'm in Salford-on-Sea now. Up in the coast. That's Yorkshire.
One of our players passing dead slow to and that's the whole point. Yeah. Everyone, and that's the thing is Everton fans can be a little bit kind of bipolar. Like, we go from one extreme to the other. We're like really, really happy and then really, really miserable. But we don't do like just that steady. Like, we don't, because it's like
that Alisson Beck. That Decker one's legit, by the way.
That Decker was legit.
Yeah,
the link.
Apparently, he's liked Everton Blue Army's Twitter post to say that we're interested in signing him.
And who is he?
A winger who plays in Germany for Union Berlin.
Is he any good?
I don't know. I don't run a football channel. we need some kids who are good at FIFA to come on here and tell us. John says, bring back Niasse.
Oh, God. I know, but it's one of those, right? There's a one. It was a ridiculous deal. It was a ridiculous deal, and it was a ridiculous decision. But he did actually score goals. Like, he was awful. I can't remember seeing a worse footballer in the world. But he's still a better striker than Dominic Calvert-Lewin's been for the last 2 years. Like, because he's actually scored goals. So, yeah. I don't think I would take him back, like, but...
Signing Priore from Sassuolo for 30 million.
Sassuolo?
Yeah.
Who's this? What did you say his name was?
Priore Sassuolo.
Traore Sassuolo?
6 minutes ago.
Is this more nonsense? Are you on the wind-up again?
Bournemouth is set to sign Hamed Traore from Sassuolo, confirmed in here.
Bournemouth is signing him.
Say again?
Did you say Bournemouth is signing him?
Yeah.
Well, I don't care then.
They're our direct rivals.
Yeah, they are. That is true. Great picture of Everton's new manager. He just basically looks like one of the what's the brothers out of fucking EastEnders? There's so many manic depressives on Everton Twitter. It's so hilarious. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, that one. The
Look, mate,
Bournemouth,
how you doing, mate? You all right, buddy?
Fabrizio Romano. Bournemouth are signing Hamid Traore from Sassuolo. 30 million euros. It's annoying me that all our rivals are signing players. The cost
Nice
of
one, mate.
relegation is more than the cost of these players now.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah. I mean, every club's in their own unique and individual position. So like some clubs going down doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world for them because you know they exist between the two divisions anyway. That's a natural state for them. So they'll try and stay up. But if you actually look at the deals they tend to do, they don't put the club in a financial pickle like our Davy club has done. So if they go down, they're probably not going to be paying massive wages to some of these signings. They'll probably get rid of a few, and they'll come back up. So yeah, I think the position for Everton is different to some of them, but this is the thing. Is like I say, is these are signing players left, right, and centre, and it's like, are they any good? Have you ever heard of them? Like, do you even know if they're actually any good? Because it's one of those. It's like all well and good being frightened because other teams like Weston McKennie. Oh, Leeds are signing Weston McKennie. Oh, he's going to be amazing. Is he? Do we know that? Are we sure? Like, is he going to make the difference? Is he going to? It was the one Wolves signed. Sorry, the Aston Villa signed. Like the winger, we were chasing him for a while, and they signed him, and he was going to be amazing. He scored against us like in his first game, obviously, because that's what people do. And then he's done nothing ever since, And it's like, I just think that we've got a permanent sense of existential angst about us. Utara is quality.
Jason says Leon Bailey. That was it.
Bailey, thank you. That's the one, Jason. Cheers. Yeah, they spent God knows how much money to bring in Liam Bailey. We were interested in for ages. And then he come in, he scored, I think, against us in his first game. Then got injured, was out for ages. And then he's in and out the side and can't hold the place down on his first team. And it's like, has he worked? No, not really. So is there any guarantee any of the players anyone signs is going to work? No. So sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But I'm not going to lose
second in Bundesliga.
Sorry?
Union Berlin are second in the Bundesliga.
Are they? Well done.
You must be quite good, that.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's one of those. I just
don't know anything about.
Yeah. But I didn't know anything about Tim Cahill when we signed him. I didn't know anything about like a lot of the players that we signed, like Marouane Fellaini. Like we were all, I remember at the time everyone wanted Witsel because we were chasing Witsel.
He's class.
And then we ended up signing Fellaini. And it was like, what the hell's going on? Because like everyone was thinking we were signing Witsel. And then we didn't sign him. And then at 3:00 in the morning, it turns out we've signed Fellaini. And everyone's like, who the hell's this?
Same transfer window.
But he turned out to be amazing. And like, he got converted to a sort of centre forwardish thing. And he was like the most grokky player in the world. Like, he probably sharpened I reckon he sharpened his elbows, like genuinely like sharpened his elbows before he went to play footy, like cued, like with a snooker cue, he chalked up his elbows before he went on the pitch. And he was like annoying and a pain in the arse, and he scored important goals. And he made us better. And then we sold him and made money on him. And it was like nobody was interested in him when we signed him. and then other players who we've chased and chased and chased, and we're like, he'd be amazing, and then we sign him, and they're dog shit. So like, no, because I don't watch the Championship, mate. I don't, Dave. Like, I didn't know anything about him because, like, the internet didn't exist back then, mate. So I literally watched Everton, and I read, like, the Echo when it was, like, a paper with, like, a spine and competence. So, no, I had no, like, literally most of the time back then, I couldn't name, like, half the players in any league at all, let alone anywhere else. I knew our players, and I knew the biggest name players of some of the other rival clubs. But like, no, I had no idea who Tim Cahill was.
Couldn't name you anyone in Bournemouth 11 or Southampton's or half of them.
No clue at all. No. So it's one of those where, like, I'm more of a football geek now than I ever was because I do this channel, and so I have to like pay more attention than I used to. Like, but generally, I don't give a shit about players. Like, I just watch Everton, and like I don't watch the Champions League because we're not in it. Like, I don't watch the FA Cup once we've been knocked out of it, which usually the third or the second round, the third or the fourth round. Yeah, I just watch Everton. Like, so no, I had no idea half these players were. Even players like Andy Gray, I didn't really know who Andy Gray was until we signed him. Duncan Ferguson, like when we first brought him down from Scotland, no idea. Like, no, I'm not gonna pretend that I knew all these people. I didn't. I just judge people when I see them. So, like, when I see them, they put on a shirt and they do the job for us, then I'm happy. No, I didn't know. I didn't know about Michael Schumacher from League Two. I knew about Michael Schumacher from Everton because he's an Everton academy player who's gone on to manage. That's how I know about him, mate. I didn't know him. Like, if he didn't have the Everton history of being an academy player for us for years, like, would I know who the Plymouth manager is? No, I would have absolutely no clue. But because I know who he is, like when he's gone to that club, it's like, oh, that's an ex-Everton lad. He's doing really well there. And then I've looked into him. So if we don't even get a striker, blame Threlwall. No strikers means relegation. Possibly. If you watch other teams, you realise this squad can't stay up.
Now, you actually move the ball with pace and purpose.
Right, we've been on this a while now. Are we calling this a day, or are you like
Asking the question.
Have you still got things to say? Did I know Rooney? Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah, I did. We had teletext. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, mate. We had teletext, Bob. Yeah, you're spot on. So you literally had to sit there and you would watch through like about 45 pages of like this thing flicking round, and then something like with Everton would come up, and then it would flick round automatically really quick, and you'd be like, "Fuck, I didn't get to read all of that," and then you have to sit through like 45 pages flicking round again. Yeah.
To be fair, though, first started watching Everton and getting really into the transfer news. I remember being on holiday somewhere and getting teletext up to find out we were in for Lucho Gonzalez, a £10 million bid on teletext. That was the only way you could get it, unless you had a computer.
I mean, I'm an old fucker, as everyone knows. I'm like, I'm 55 now, and so like when I grew up watching footy, like the first time I knew Everton had signed a player was when he run out on the pitch. Like, I didn't even know until like he'd run out on the pitch in an Everton shirt, and it's like, who's that guy? And it's like, oh yeah, we've signed him from so and so, and it's like, oh, nice one, sound. Like, because transfer business wasn't really like massive news, and like back in the day, I wasn't like going home and away or anything like that. I was going occasional games because I didn't live in Liverpool. So yeah, it just wasn't a big thing. I just watched Everton. That's it.
And on
that bombshell, you're going to say.
We'll just very quickly summarise again. We've had a good chat. We'll be back tomorrow. What to talk about? Everton had a phantom bid for Conor Gallagher. That was 45 million. Reported and denied within an hour. Turned down by Thorgan Hazard. We've watched all our relegation rivals find players. And not a lot else. Sean Dyche has been announced. And Gordon's gone. So I think that's it. Jeff, have you got anything else?
No, I just think like stay calm, and like if the window shuts and we've got no one, then you can get angry, right? That's perfectly fine. But like, don't stress. Like don't spend your whole day stressing, because life's too fucking short. It really is, and there's better things to do. Like, it'll happen when it happens, and like, yeah. But join us for the transfer show.
Thanks, guys, for watching.
Stressing about like when this player that we've never heard of is about to sign.
Yeah, we don't. The player we're signing is not even born yet. See you later.
Nice one. Cheers. See you later, mate. See you later, everyone.